start at the top, which sure looks like it's going to be Cam Ward. He's not only expected now to be the top pick to go to Tennessee, he's also well ahead of the rest of this group in our Draft Sharks rookie model score. 9.36 on a scale to 10 is his score currently. Of course, we don't have the NFL draft landing spot to add to that, but we're assuming high draft capital for Cam Ward. That rating would have ranked fourth among all QB prospects since 2021, which is as far back as our numbers go, right behind Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, and Bryce Young, right ahead of Jaden Daniels. Now, Cam Ward, 2 years at Incarnate Word, 2 years at Washington State, last year at Miami. Shane, 2024 looks like his peak, but he had good production throughout. What do you think of Cam Ward as an NFL prospect?
He's definitely grown on me a lot through the process. Looking back in November, I was like, this quarterback class is bad. I was kind of on that train. And then Ward, going back and watching him, you see that star potential. This year at Miami was certainly his best year, 4,313 yards passing, 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. What I like about him, watching him all the way back to the Incarnate Word days, is he got better every year. You can see the improvement mentally. You can see the improvement physically, see the improvement in terms of rolling out and improving, which is one of his best traits. A lot of people might knock him for the history, but he was in a wing T offense in high school, didn't throw the ball. He was a 0-star recruit and ended up getting recruited because of just camp workouts. He actually declared in 2024, then went back and transferred to Miami. Probably the best decision he made. He probably would have been maybe a day 2, early day 3 pick, but there's some dominant performances. I mean, like I said, his ability to improvise, even when there's a pass rush, his zip and arm, I think is NFL level caliber. His rushing is underrated. He's a big guy who can run around. He's going to run through some of these smaller defensive backs too. The downside with Cam Ward, I think, is what we saw kind of with Caleb Williams in the NFL last year, playing that hero ball. I mean, Cam Ward wants to make the big play every single time, doesn't want to check the ball down. Numerous plays, easy checkdowns there, and he's running around looking downfield. It's like, man, just get it to your guy. Just make the right read, make the right play. So I think you got to settle him down. A lot of people say, hey, he wouldn't have been very good in the 2024 class. I would have put him probably behind Drake May. I think he's a similar prospect in terms of grade to Drake May, because I think he has that superstar potential.
So that would have been Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and then Cam Ward?
Correct.
Which would put him ahead of Bo Nix and Michael Penix for you.
Yeah, he would have been clearly ahead of them pre-draft process, knowing what we know about Bo Nix now. I think it'd be tough to do, but he would have been there in the pre-draft process ahead of Nix.
Jared, where are you at on Cam Ward right now, especially as a fantasy prospect?
I at least think there's some fantasy upside to at least be intrigued by with Cam Ward. Like Shane said, it does seem like he got better each year in college, which you like to see. And then the 2024 season was really strong as a passer. He was second in the nation in PFF passing grade, 67% completion rate for Cam Ward last year on a 9.8 yard average depth of target. So he was throwing downfield, still completing a high percentage of his passes. He was 5th in the country in PFF deep passing grade. 56% of his completions last year went 10 or more yards downfield. That was tops in FBS. Ward did not have a lot of, easy stuff. He was completing passes downfield efficiently. And then, of course, the rushing too, 25.8 rushing yards per game last year. Again, my numbers, I'm not factoring in sacks like NCAAs. This is just, legit rushing yards like we're going to get in the NFL. So close to 26 rushing yards per game for Cam Ward last year. He's a good athlete. He's not like an elite athlete. I think I'm not going to draw any Patrick Mahomes comparisons, but Dane Brugler actually said, talking about Cam Ward's mobility, Brugler said, Mahomes like scrambler, not fast, but runs with savvy and takes yards the defense gives him. I think that's a perfect description of what Ward is. His NFL offense is not going to, I think, design too many runs for him. But when plays break down, he can definitely pick up first down, score some touchdowns, help us in fantasy with his legs. So I do think, for all the reasons Shane mentioned, the floor here is kind of low. I think there's higher bust risk with Ward than even, the average number 1 overall pick. But again, I think if he hits, because of the arm strength and because of the rushing ability, he can be a, top 12, top 10 type fantasy quarterback for us.
Shane, I know that we have Deshaun Watson as the player comp for Cam Ward in the prospect guide. Do you think that maybe sets the bar a little too high for what we should expect rushing yards wise? Is he maybe a Daniel Jones level producer in the NFL? Is there somewhere south of Deshaun Watson, or do you think Deshaun Watson is the upside case for Cam Ward as a fantasy producer?
I mean, I think it's the upside case. That is, if everything hits well and he goes to an offense that says, hey, we're going to use you in some of these quarterback run situations, do some of the scripted stuff and some of the tush push things. I think then maybe Cam Ward has that potential to score those rushing touchdowns like Watson did. But probably a more likely case is a Daniel Jones, where it's going to be not scripted runs, but things break down. Cam Ward can take off. He can make a big run. He can break a tackle. He's going to try to stay on the field. He's not someone that there's contact. I'm always sliding, always stepping out. He has the body type, I think, to be an effective runner. So it's hard to peg. And I think this quarterback class in general, sometimes the rushing is a little harder to peg. Like we knew Jaden Daniels last year is going to run the football. I don't think any of these quarterbacks we know are going to run the football, but have that potential to run the football.
One guy that just popped into my head is David Garrard, who was the quarterback for Jacksonville a while ago. I'm just looking up the rushing yardage for his career.
Get your head checked, Matt. You got David Garrard popping into your head.
That's just the breadth of knowledge that's in there, Jared. I got to flip all the way back in the encyclopedia. So he averaged 20.3 rushing yards per game through his NFL career. When he was starting for the Jags, was in like that 20 to 24 yards per game. Does that seem like a fair range for expecting Cam Ward's rushing?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's kind of right.
Yeah.
I project him off the bat, at least.
So there you go, Jared. You're welcome for thinking of David Garrard. Cam Ward does not lead our current Superflex rookie rankings, and that's abnormal for the top QB in the class, especially when we're talking about somebody who's well ahead of the rest of the quarterback group in those model score ratings, like I mentioned before. So you can probably guess what player is at number one, but you'll have to check the rankings to see exactly where Cam Ward sits and where the other quarterbacks in this class fall. So check our Dynasty Superflex rookie rankings on DraftSharks.com now.